And hello and welcome back to another episode of the Shadow of the Apple podcast. Today we are going to be covering the Mets versus the Marlins and the Yankees versus the Rays. The Yankees split a two-game series because of the rain, and the Mets went to Miami. And whenever it seems like they need to beat Miami in a big series, no matter what year, what season, whether it's 07, 08, or just last year, the Mets fall short again and don't take advantage. But we'll get into them first. We can start with the Yankees because they played a two-game series. But I wrote down some stuff um, about the Yankee series, some
Mhm.
stats to go down. But Ryan, if you want to start with the Yankees, 'cause obviously this is your team.
Yeah. The Yankees went into the series against the Rays, who lead the AL East. We had discussed, what the result would be when it comes out, how far back the Yankees would be. They would have gained some ground, lost some ground. Somehow they ended up staying exactly where they were because, like you said, that one game was postponed, so they ended up splitting a two-game series. The first game, the ace Garrett Cole came back. I had expected him. I think I said around like 75 pitches. He ended up throwing 72. And he went 6 innings, gave up no runs on 2 hits, 3 walks, and 2 strikeouts. So that's great to see from him. I feel like his rehab went faster than Carlos Rodon's did. Well, no, Rodon's went faster. Cole's went longer. Uh, so it felt like he was going to be better and stronger by the time he came back. And so we got to see. So it's good to see him back on the mound, pitching the way he's supposed to be. Austin Wells his fourth home run in the fifth inning. The Yankees went up 1-0, but the bullpen ended up blowing it in the eighth inning, which is the same issue they've talked about with the bullpen. But it started with a big error by Jose Caballero that allowed uh, Chandler Simpson to reach. He's one of the fastest players in the game. I think that's a very crucial error there. I think you can't let that happen. I feel like, if Simpson doesn't reach there, that whole inning can be differently. The Yankees could have walked away with the win, but they didn't. So the originally scheduled game 2 is one that was postponed. It's going to be a doubleheader in September, the last homestand of the year. So that'll be interesting. I think if you're the Yankees, you like that because right now you're not playing your best baseball, and Tampa definitely is playing their best baseball. So to be able to push that game back and face them at the end of the year, you have a better idea of playoff standings. It's probably a good thing. Um, so what actually ended up being game 2 was Sunday's game. Uh, Ryan Weathers and Drew Rasmussen, they had a classic pitchers duel, went 7 innings each, gave up 0 runs. No one scored up until the bottom of the ninth inning when Aaron Judge hit a 17th home run, a walk-off home run, and yeah, so the Yankees split that series, and I think the series is a lot about the Rays more than it does the Yankees. I feel like because it shows that teams can hang around with the Rays. They're not untouchable. Um, the Yankees had to lead most of the only time the Rays had to lead this whole series was from the top of the eighth inning till the end of the first game. So, I mean, not too much to say there. I felt like the series would be a little more exciting. You expected 3 games. We only got 2.
Yeah, and to put it in perspective, the Rays after Friday's win were 22-4 in their last 26 games. That's tying their franchise record for a, in any 26 game stretch that the Tampa Bay Rays have had. And another thing I want to add is Nick Martinez was just caught up, just as good as Garrett Cole.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe not the strikeouts, but he only allowed the one run, 94 pitches, 6 innings pitch, and only one walk. So I mean, and something I was looking at the Rays rotation, and it is pretty good. I know McClanahan's not really pitching right now, but even without him, you still have Rasman, you have Martinez, Ryan Pepiot, and then you have Steven Matz, Mets legend. So overall, the the I mean, the Rays have always had really good pitching. I think we talked about that in the last episode.
Yeah,
Um, but they showed that their pitching is pretty legit.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the pitching is what's been carrying them uh, to just such a great start this year.
I mean, you
Yeah,
do
they
say
got
that,
two pitcher
but
tools.
one of their players who tied the game for the Yankees, Jonathan Randa, is leading the league in RBIs.
Hmm.
So they're something that I do want to add about the Rays is that they're a very pesky team. Just the way when I was watching
Yeah,
the highlights, you had Richie Palacios with a go-ahead double, you had Ryan Velarde with a sac fly. These aren't big names, but they're getting the job done, and they're scrapping runs against the Yankees.
yeah. It's like I said last episode. They remind me a lot of the 2025 Blue Jays, the way they play baseball and win games.
Yeah, like for sure, they definitely showed that they can hang. And they're a fun team to watch because they don't have, like big names, and the Rays, I feel like constantly are always changing. But now with guys that they can start building around, like Junior Caminero, for example, they're slowly starting to build their team to where they once were. Because, I mean, the Rays have been pretty good all this whole decade, for being honest. Like they they had obviously 2020, they had the World Series campaign, and then they won 100 games the next year. And they made the playoffs 3 straight years. I no, sorry, 4 straight years. And missed the playoffs the last 2 years because they started to once again rebuild. But I mean, it doesn't really take long for this Rays franchise to start rebuild and start bringing in players.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they're always hanging around every few years. Like you said, they'll go on a run where they'll make the playoffs for a few years.
Yeah,
So
and it's interesting because we'll see what happens because I feel like a lot of these race teams that are end up doing good kind of fall off one way or another. Like the 2021 team really started to dip, and then they ran into Boston. The 22 team they were pretty consistent most of the year, but then the 2023 team, they went on that really crazy stretch where they won like their first like 14, 15 games. But they ended up being a wild card team and then lost to the eventual World Series Texas Rangers, which that season was so weird. That was a really weird year. I remember really
yeah,
enjoying watching the playoffs that year until the World Series because after game one, it had no juice. But I digress. So, but yeah, like I do think this series, I do agree with that. This series says a lot more about Tampa than New York because I mean, you saw just obviously we haven't been watching the Rays this year, but we you see just how they play and how they function, why they've been so good.
yeah, and it's like I've been saying. Uh, I still don't see them as the biggest threat long term for the Yankees in the East, but I do think that this team is good enough to stick around to fight for the division. That they could prove everybody wrong. Um, and
Hmm.
I think the pitching staff mainly, just because of all the names you listed before. I mean, I can see them definitely still being up there in the top of the AL East come September, or
Yeah,
even just being in a wild card spot.
yeah, and they're probably gonna add people, I would think. I think they're probably gonna add some players to the once the trade deadline comes around.
Yeah, probably know them too big, knowing their history, but
Another thing my dad told me was that I don't know if you knew this, but the last 5 Sundays, I'm pretty sure this is a true stat, but the last 5 Sundays, Aaron Judge has hit a home run.
really, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so Aaron Judge, I guess, likes to play well on Sundays, and he hit a home run that like just it was what 363 feet, I think it was.
Yeah,
So
yesterday's home run, I'm not exactly sure the distance, but it definitely was like the second row in right field.
yeah, it just went over the short porch, but I mean, it got the job done. Um, and you can't really complain with the split. These last 2 series for the Yankees have been splits, so I
Hmm.
guess you'll take what you can get. They go 3-3
Yeah,
on the homestand, and then obviously they will head in and play Kansas City on this Memorial Day. But I guess I mean, is there anything else you want to say about the Yanks? I mean, like I said, I mean, this series was definitely more about the Rays. I mean, uh, you could talk about Garrett Cole, you could talk about his first start, you could talk about um, just how he looked, and if you, what are you expecting out of Garrett Cole in these next few
yeah.
starts as he starts to settle back in?
Yeah, Garrett Cole looked sharp, much sharper in comparison to Rodon, his first start back. Um, Obviously, he didn't look like 2023 Cy Young winner Cole. or anything in the past, but he did look really sharp. He looked really good. He went obviously 6 innings, no runs. So I don't expect him to put up his usual numbers this season, at least not until the second half, possibly. But I think that the names surrounding him takes a lot of pressure off of him and allows him to be able to take the time he needs to get back to being 100%. Obviously, we have Cam Schlittler, there's Carlos Rodon, Ryan Weathers and Will Warren are both pitching really well. Max Fried eventually will rejoin the rotation. So all those guys help take a lot of pressure off him. He doesn't have to be the ace who comes out there every 5 days and puts up 7 innings, 6 innings, no runs.
Yeah, I mean, both teams have really good rotations in my opinion. I guess the only thing that I think the Rays would really have over the Yankees pitching wise is the bullpen because like you said, the Yankees bullpen is a
Yeah.
little up and down. Um, so, but we'll see. We'll really see with the Rays. I mean, they are a very interesting team though, in my opinion.
Hmm.
So yeah, so I mean, we could transition into the Mets. So the Mets, after going 5-1 on the homestand, you would think that the Mets would take advantage after beating two playoff teams, but the Mets unfortunately went back to reality and came into Miami. And obviously, we talked about the National Series, but they still looked pretty decent, and there were still some like signs of hope. But this series was just a complete, just boring and overall disaster. I mean, it's to just put it in perspective. Good teams will take advantage of the opportunity they have in play. Bad teams don't, and the Mets obviously didn't because they're just not that good of a team. So they they go into Miami. Um, so game one, they had Tobias Myers pitch 1 inning, and then Sean Manaea pitched the bulk of the game. The only thing that really happened in that game was Juan Soto's home run, but other than that, just really boring. Uri Perez, the pitcher for the Marlins, had 5 straight losses before playing against the Mets and got his win. So, and the Mets, obviously, they scored 2 runs the whole weekend. Peralta, and then game two, I'm just going to go quick. Peralta went 7 innings, 8 hits on 4 runs with 9 strikeouts, but he gave up 2 home runs while doing so. Owen Cassidy with a 2-run double, Liam Hicks with 2 home runs. And then the last game, the cherry on top, Christian Scott looked great. We talked about him a little bit in the last episode. He's really starting to show what he offers to the table, showing what he showed a little bit in 2024 with the 4 hits and 5 strikeouts on 94 pitches. The bullpen was great with Brazoban, Riley, and Weaver, and then also including AJ Ewing gunning down a runner. But the game ends on Heredito Hernandez grand slam walk-off against Devin Williams, which brought his ERA to 6.35. So, and to put it in perspective, that was the first walk-off grand slam in the MLB since 2013.
Is that true?
Yeah.
First walk-off grand slam in MLB?
Yep. Because when I was looking at the highlights, they pull up stats. They show up stats and like it's like a little like Instagram story if you go on Google. It's like that format, but the main stat says that there hasn't been a walk-off grand slam in baseball since 2013, and of course it's the Mets who give it up. The
I'm
Royals were the
pretty
team.
sure Giancarlo Stanton hit one. He definitely did hit a walk-off grand slam in 2022.
I mean, I could go back and see, but
Yeah, I mean it's probably the stats probably maybe just the Marlins first walk-off grand slam or something like that. But I mean either way, they're very rare. They're not common at all. I can't think of any others.
yeah, Hernandez was the first walk-off grand slam. Okay, so it was the first walk slam in a 0-0 game
Mm-hmm.
since the Royals' Justin Maxwell in 2013. So in a 0-0 game, that was the first grand slam that was given up. But if you want my opinion, I mean, they just aren't that good. Like they can't hit a lick. I mean, it really goes down to that. Like with with the players you have, and I mean, I get it. There's no Robert, there's no Alvarez, there's no Lindor, but like with the team that they have and the pitching that they have, because the pitching is the only reason that they stay in these games. Um, they they are, and they're also losing to a very not good Marlins team. Like the people who like Freddie Peralta gave up 2 home runs to Liam Hicks. Do you know who Liam Hicks is, Ryan?
No, I saw that. I never heard of him, to be honest.
Like they're letting guys, they're getting like the Marlins. I don't understand how the Marlins they play as they're just not. They're so bad. The Marlins aren't good. They're not a good baseball team. They're bad. They're bad mostly every year. And the fact that whenever the Mets need to win a big series against them, these bums that play on this team turn into the fucking prime dynasty 90s Yankees for no reason, and I just don't get it. Like I don't get why every time the Mets just forget how to play baseball too against the Marlins. And you know what? Devin Williams gave up a grand slam. I don't like honestly, maybe we should have scored like a few runs and they would have pitched them differently. I mean, I don't know why I mean, they walked the batter to pitch a nut to this to Hernandez, and he ends up giving a grand slam. And like, I'm not even gonna put all the blame on Williams because like we should have scored runs the whole like forever ago because our pitching should keep us in this game. And the lineup, even with like the prospects and all the guys, they should still muster something. That's the thing that annoys me the most. And Soto was scratched out of the lineup uh on Sunday before the game started. So like it just is really pathetic is really what it is because unfortunately you'd think the Mets would take advantage of the opportunity, but they don't because I mean they're just they're just not a good team. Like they have flashes. There's definitely a lot of things that um when things go right, you could be hopeful. Like in the last homestand, like you have guys like Vientos and Ewing and all these other guys show up, but like these guys are still they're still projects. So it's like it's really hard to see any kind of consistency with this team because they're not going to be consistent. They haven't been consistent all season, and it doesn't look like it's going to, especially with all the injuries. And even when these guys come back, these kids have honestly been playing better than them. They've shown way more life than these other players have. So it's like I don't even know where you go, like because it's like they take one step forward and then they proceed to take 1,000 steps back. And now they're back to 9 games under 500. So all that progress you made in that 5-1 homestand is basically gone.
Yeah, that was going to be part of my question. I was going to ask, the Mets went on a good run, sweeping Detroit, 2 out of 3 from the Yankees, split with the Nationals. But, and then we were talking about coming into this Miami series because they had just passed them in the standings in the East. And we were discussing, see if they can just make some ground and try and just get up there. So I'm sure it's very defeating to watch them go into Miami, not win a single game, and only score 2 runs throughout those 3 games.
Yeah, and like the Marlins, like it's not even like the Marlins are that good. That's the part that annoys me the most. Like the Nationals have talent on their team, so like I'm not gonna get too annoyed, but with them, but the Marlins are like they have nobody. At least in their lineup. Their lineup is so doo-doo. Their lineup is just as bad as ours. So I don't even know where like how you even explain just this team, especially because the same people aren't showing any consistency too. Like Marcus Simeon is still pretty bad. Like it's basically the same story with most of these players. Um, we should have fired Carlos Mendoza a month ago. I really want to get into that too. Alex Cora was available. Just saying, we could have fired him and tried to bring a change into this team a while ago. But why wait until the end of the season after in a lockout year where we might not even get a chance to see what the Mets will look like next year? I think that's what it is. I wanted the Mets to be good this year because I'm not sure if there's going to be a baseball season next year. I hope there is, but what's the point of waiting until the end of the season and get a new coaching staff, potentially fire Stearns. Get like why wait? You don't know what's going to happen next year. You don't know if baseball is going to be played next year. You might as well try to change something and do something now so you can win now. But I'm not even sure if the Mets have winning in their best interest right now because it's just they're not doing anything to really change anything. They brought prospects in, and they've been good. They've definitely have been good, but it's pretty much been the same problems though. Like I really feel like the problems haven't changed. Like there's questionable decisions with Mendoza in the bullpen. Obviously not yesterday because they everyone pitched pretty well up until Williams. But there's consistent. It's the same consistent problems going on with this Mets team. I'm basically repeating myself at this point, but the same thing I've been talking about this team at the end and the beginning of the month, or the end of April and the beginning of this month is the same. I'm basically talking about the same thing. Like at this point, I don't even know where you really go because like even if the Mets, let's just say they do take 2 out of 3 from the Reds, it's like it might not even be enough. You have to win, like you have to go on another crazy stretch again just to get back even close to 500. You would have like they would have to go on like an incredible stretch just to get back into the swing of things. And like I honestly just don't know. I really don't know because I don't know if this team has the consistency to even get back in the mix. Because a lot of players, even like when it comes to the players, when it comes to the staff, everything about this team is just inconsistent. And because they put themselves in such a horrible hole in the first month of the year, it's very hard to see this team making any kind of comeback in their season. Obviously, they'll have another month, and we'll see what happens. But I mean, it's just hard to watch.
Yeah, but like you said, with it was a good point you brought up. The same things that we're talking about now are the same issues that we were talking about last month with the Mets, and they tried fixing it by really just calling up some prospects. That's about it. I don't really even know what they can do from here.
I think I mean firing the manager is really the only thing I could really think of. And cuz you need a sense of urgency. You
Mhm.
need some kind of boost. You need someone to come in and try to change the culture cuz I mean, Alex Cora, I mean, one like I said is available and he's won before. Sure, his time ran out in Boston, but like I would bring him in. I would. Um, but they should have fired Carlos Mendoza a month ago. He's making the same baffling decisions that make you scratch your head from April to now. So it's just really hard to watch because like it's the same crap, it's the same stuff, and these prospects, as much as I do like a lot of these guys, like Benj and I like Ewing and I like Morabito, they're all promising. And they're definitely have brought in some boost into this team, but they're prospects and they're not gonna be consistent players, and that's just the truth. A lot of them just aren't. They've had like Bench had a great stretch recently, but like and also they really do need like some of their guys to come back. Like they need Alvarez to come back. They could really use Lindor right now. Like something's got to give. I just would like to see some consistency on this Mets team. Like I mean, and I feel like this team can play good baseball. That's the worst part. I feel like this team could, but I get more and more detached from this Mets team the more I watch them because they just continue to like. You think maybe just maybe they're gonna finally build something again, and we were talking about that after the Yankee series, but once again, they're just going back to their old ways. And I don't know if it's just that they can't play well against their division. I don't know if it's just they can't play well against the Marlins, but like, I don't know. The Marlins, for whatever reason, just have our number whenever we need to win a big series. Like, I don't get it. From going back to last year, going back to '07, going back to '08, every single time the Marlins just like become a great team and they're going to go back to They're probably gonna go back to getting blown out by the Braves and the Phillies, like how they usually do. But overall, it's just so annoying. At least I have the Knicks though, right?
Yeah, at least you have the Knicks. I don't know how much managerial or coaching change would even do for this team at this point. I feel like the biggest thing you can hope for is that the veterans just start hitting the way they're supposed to. Some of the young guys, because you cannot rely on the rookies and the younger players to bring you back to a decent record and into a
Max.
wild card spot. So you need the veterans to start hitting. Obviously, you said you have to wait for Lindor and Robert to come back, but for now you have Simeon, you have Soto, you have Bichette. You need these guys to start playing the way they're supposed to and playing up to the numbers they're getting paid. And hopefully, some of the rookies or younger players can take a next step, can be nice pieces in the lineup or pitching staff. But yeah, the
Yeah,
biggest thing for the Mets right now is just you need the veterans to start playing the way they're supposed to.
yeah, you're right. Like if there's anybody that you need consistency from, it is definitely the veteran players. Like, and you expect guys like Simeon and Bichette to be consistent, but they haven't. Like, and like that's a big problem. That's a big problem. Like the rookies definitely do bring boosts, but because they're rookies, they're good to have up and down. Like even the guys who aren't rookies, the guys that are still considered young, like Brett Brady and Mark Vientos, like these guys, like you can't really count on most of these guys to be consistent. If there's any guys that you need to count on being consistent, it's veterans like Marcus Semien and Bichette and Soto. And Soto has been heading pretty well, but like, and it sucks honestly is that like they're gonna trade some guys at the deadline. I do want to see some people traded, but it's like they can't even trade some people because they like a lot of some of these guys are hurt. Like I don't know when these guys will be back, but they can't even trade like a pitcher like Holmes, for example, because he got hurt and he's out for the year, so they can't even trade him. So it's just I don't know. It's just another like deflating series. Like really thought this team was gonna at least kind of show me something uh after this national series, and I really felt like they could have took 3 out of 4 if they just held on. But I mean, you can't even win a game against the Marlins, dude. Not even one game. That's the part that's deflating. I mean, I feel like they made a lot of progress in that homestand, and it just feels like they're back to square one. So, I mean, I guess there's still time, but like I don't know. It's really deflating when you felt like this team was starting to bring something, but we'll have Nolan McLean today on Memorial Day against the Reds, um, and go from there. They're going to play the Reds and the Marlins in this homestand. So, I mean, I think that could really wrap it up. I think if there's oh, that was another thing I mentioned. Christian Scott. Another thing I want to mention about Christian Scott. I think I saw someone say that on Twitter that he has had 15 starts and he's yet to record a win, which is insane. But I generally can't remember Christian Scott ever actually pitching a game where he won.
Yeah, that's a crazy stat.
So yeah, because like some of his best starts in 2024, he lost. Like his first start was against Tampa, he scored 7 scoreless, and then New York legend Adam Ottavino blew the game. So it's bad luck for Christian Scott. I mean, if there's any positive I can take from this series is that he looked really good, and I'm really hoping he could be, as long as he stays healthy, he's going to start to hopefully go deeper in games, and we'll see. But
Yeah, I mean, like we said with both
mhm.
teams, honestly, both teams you just need consistency from the veterans and the leaders of the teams. Because in comparison to the Yankees, they just went through a rough stretch, or they can still be going through. I don't know, it's just one win against Tampa, but before Judge's walk-off home run yesterday, uh, they really weren't hitting too well, and that was mainly in part to him going through one of the worst like 10-game stretches of his career. Cody Bellinger kind of fell off a little bit from his yearly stat line. Jazz not hitting too well. So yeah, like same thing with the Yankees, same thing with the Mets. You just need the best hitters in the team, the veterans, to stay consistent and start hitting better.
Yeah, I agreed, bro. So I think that will wrap it up for this episode. Pretty pretty cutthroat recap of both squads. There also wasn't really a lot to talk about in the sense of like moments and like things to happen outside of the actual games itself.
Hmm.
So, but we'll have the next episode. Mets taking on the Reds, Yankees taking on the Royals in Kansas City. So I think that'll do it. Do it for the episode. Once again, this is Ryan and Dylan, and we'll see you in the next episode.